Over here, we're going to look at static. On the left-hand side, we have static beliefs. These are Calvinist, Provisionist, Catholic, Mormon, Baptist, Lutheran, Presbyterian, non-denominational, etc. If you have a statement of faith at your church, this is you over here on the left-hand side. Doesn't matter what denomination, no denomination, doesn't matter, right? Your metaparadigmatic, if you have dynamic faith, you're metaparadigmatic. So your static beliefs, on the static side, beliefs are codified, beliefs are codified once or periodically and rarely changed. Like for Calvinists, many Baptist Calvinists affirm they adhere to the 1689 London Baptist Confession. 1689. Southern Baptists have the 2020 Baptist Faith and Message. It has been 22 years since they have produced anything, so it's static. It doesn't change very often. At least the Southern Baptists, they changed theirs in like 1925, 1963, 90 something, then again in 2000. All right, they changed it more often than 1689 at least, even though it got worse every time. But we have a video on that too, by the way. But the beliefs are static, and they're written down like London Baptist Confession 1689. They got it right back in 1689. There's no reason to rethink anything. We're just going to adhere to that. And bam, static, doesn't change. Dynamic is beliefs are held in possibility space and are constantly updated, and there's really not even any need to write them down, because the beliefs that you think you need to hold, if you have dynamic faith, you realize that they're not even relevant. It's not even relevant to write these things down and affirm them. It's not the point. It's not the point of Christianity. On the static side, you require value. The static side values affirmations of abstractions of reality. In other words, it places a high value on you affirming their propositions. God is a hypostatic union between the Father and the Son, da 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 da. Well, it values you affirming that. Over here, dynamic faith values engagement with reality. Static beliefs, propositional beliefs are the normative features of in-groups. But in dynamic faith, love, being, and practice are the normative features of in-groups. Static beliefs is monoperspectival and has factionalism, rife with factionalism. Dynamic faith is multi-perspectival and cooperative. Static beliefs have judgment via formula comparison, simulated thinking. Dynamic faith uses wisdom to do discernment, genuine discernment, with orientation alignment because you know what your aim is. Static beliefs are formulaic, copied, and conventional. Dynamic faith is unconventional, spontaneous, and original. And because people say original, you're just making up beliefs. No, it's not beliefs, you see. It's a way. It's a way of conducting yourself. Lord, show me how to go in and out among the people. It's a way. It's not a set of beliefs. And so, like Brad Pitt's character in World War Z, you may have to be unconventional, spontaneous, and original. Notice none of the thing that doesn't, when you look at it in terms of that movie, it's not about original beliefs. It's not like Joseph Smith coming up with the same, like a new thing. It's not like that, because notice Mormonism is over here along with the Calvinists and Provisionists and Catholics and Baptists and all these guys. It's all the same thing. Doesn't matter. No matter what the propositions are, they're basically the same. Okay? The fact that they're propositions make them profane. In static beliefs, the positions are held firmly. In dynamic faith, positions, if held at all, are adaptable. Somebody wrote me and asked me, what's your position and what's Seraphim's position on XYZ? I'm like, I don't have positions on these things. I don't know if he does either. So I don't know that's a disoriented question to ask. Static beliefs go by rules. Dynamic faith goes by wisdom. Think World War Z. Rules don't apply in a Kairos situation. Static beliefs, explicit propositions are required. In dynamic faith, instead of explicit propositions, writing everything down to the nth degree, you realize that can't be done. What you're trying to do is just see clearly. On static beliefs, they value scalability and mass production. Let's send thousands of people to seminary and teach them all the same propositions, and they can all come out and be pastors and then evangelize everybody, and you can keep repeating this process of indoctrinating everybody to this static set of propositions that everybody must affirm to be considered a genuine Christian. Nobody's in relationship with Jesus Christ. They're all in relationship with a set of beliefs. And they're just brainwashing everybody to become ideologically possessed. That's not Christianity. In dynamic faith, instead of scalability and mass production, we value careful cultivation. Okay? You deal with people as individuals that you actually care about, and you cultivate insights and wisdom in them rather than subjecting them to the propositions that you think they should affirm. Static beliefs need to be victorious in rivalry. Dynamic faith aims to correspond with reality. We're not concerned with rivalry. We're not concerned with being victorious in rivalry, winning debates, anything. We're concerned with corresponding with reality. And when you're trying to figure that out, all right, you have to use rule omega, not debates, rule omega and dialogos, in order to suss out the truth, not debates. All right, debates don't suss out truth. It causes people to double down and get further away from the truth and get more abstract with the truth, more propositional, less real. Static beliefs, the people are aimless and disoriented. They don't know where they're headed. They're always asking the question, what is the will of God for my life? You ever heard that question a million times? Because static belief version of Christianity is aimless and disoriented. In dynamic faith, you're pressing toward the mark of Christ as the way. And that's one of the things we're trying to help you do in this video, is give you a trajectory for what it looks like when you grow. How do you become like Christ as the way? In static beliefs, you are edified in a broadcast modality, a one-to-many, one pastor standing behind a pulpit, lots of people at the congregation. And the Ephesians 4:11 through 12 model, which isn't necessarily bad for stage 1 through 3 people. But in dynamic faith, we're edified in a peer-to-peer modality, Ephesians 4:13 through 16. Static faith, you have alignment with a belief system. In dynamic faith, you have alignment with the way that is Christ. All right, I should probably type that in there. With the way that is Christ. You align with the flow of Christ like you would align with the flow of a river. It's moving, it's dynamic. That's what the word dynamic means. It's constantly moving. In static beliefs, it's important that you worship Christ correctly. And dynamic faith, it's important to follow Christ faithfully. You know, I don't have a problem with people worshiping Christ. Go for it. John, what is it, 9:18, as long as you don't have an ASV. Yeah, go ahead and worship Christ. But to argue about doing it correctly, you got to realize, Christ never commanded anybody to worship him. I know Christ is worshipped, Revelation 4 and 5, should be, that's fine. But what I'm saying is he never commanded anybody to do it. But what he did say is follow me. And what people are doing in churches is they're so concerned with worshiping correctly, and they're factionalizing over our worship is better than you. We have sacraments and you have ordinances. We have this, we do it this way, and we're right and you're wrong. We're liturgical and you guys are snake handlers, whatever. It's not about worshiping Christ correctly. It's about following Christ faithfully. All right. Just like these fingers pointing at the moon. You can have all the fingers pointing at the moon, and the idea is to look at the moon. But what Christians are all doing is they're arguing about who's got the best finger. And that's not what it's supposed to be about. So now back to this chart. Hopefully you get an idea. When I talk about static beliefs versus dynamic faith, I've given you two charts now, all right? For the price of one, I've given you two charts on what first half of life wisdom container looks like versus second half of life wisdom. And this one over here. All right? Side-by-side comparison so you can kind of have a feel for, as you plot out your growth trajectory, what should this look like? And here are some ideas on what it should look like.